Welcome to my chambers. You have found yourself among my halls. Do you dare venture inside? Greetings. I'm your humble host of the Chambers of My Heart. I shall be your entertainment today with Cog Grinder away. Well, if I could be considered as that. Either way, we're all aware of how feminism works with all of its wonderfully destructive effects on society and such. We're all well acquainted, I'm sure. But what about feminism's male counterpart? MGTOW, or men going their own way. For those who are curious as to what MGTOW is defined as, let me read from a website of theirs. MGTOW, men going their own way, is a statement of self-ownership, where the modern man preserves and protects his sovereignty above all else. It is the manifestation of one word: no. Ejecting silly preconceptions and culture definitions of what a man is, looking to no one else for social cues, refusing to bow, serve, and kneel for the opportunity to be treated like a disposable utility, and living according to his own best interest in a world which would rather he didn't. Just, they're tired of society stomping on them, much more women disposing of them. Just like feminism, there are all sort of different MGTOW, but for the most part can all be classified the same way while spouting the same nonsense. The opposite sex is evil. Today we shall look at one who is quite famous in the MGTOW community. Yep, and as you can see from the title, we're going down that road. MGTOW can't have the real thing, so let's make fake ones. It's sad, really.
Hey everyone, this is Turd Flinging Monkey. So in response to my video yesterday about the sex robots and the virtual assistants and so forth,
the video he's referring to is on an article about a dating virtual assistant and how a man broke up with his girlfriend just to get attached to the frickin' thing romantically. Pathetic, I know.
I saw a lot of comments in the comment section that I've seen before in previous videos about sex robots. And it just kind of dawned on me that I haven't actually addressed some of these concerns in a video. I've addressed them in the comments section numerous times, but I think it's actually better if I make a video about this. If I answer these frequently asked questions once and for all, then I can just refer back to this video in the future.
Oh goody! It's going to be the same BS the angry MGTOW spews about sex robots. He's another MGTOW here on YouTube who carries on how women will one day be replaced by machine. Come to think of it, from what I hear, angry MGTOW is considered a clown by the rest here on YouTube. How the hell are you different from him when you spout the same nonsense? Honestly, there really isn't when the two channels are compared. Same paranoid, apocalyptic bullshit about women. The vaginas are coming. The vaginas are coming. Every man with a 3-inch penis, run!
Okay, so first off, let's address the double standard. Why are men not threatened by dildos, but women are threatened by sex robots?
Already, I can see that you're trying to bullshit your audience, TMF. There are plenty of men who are careful not to buy a dildo bigger than they as not to overstretch their woman, so when the time comes for love, the woman will still be able to enjoy the man's penis. Your false bravado is showing.
Well, the simple answer is, men are not simply sex objects. A man's roles include provider, protector, and thirdly, a sexual partner. But that's a very distant third.
So I'm guessing you don't know what erotica is, or female porn, or even see yaoi manga for that matter. You come across very delusional. Have you not seen the way that men are sexualized in female romance novels or movies? Men are sexually irreplaceable, right, TMF? Wait until the findings of science bite you square in the ass. And thanks to feminism, women will make more than men now. I'm just saying, with the way that society is going, reality can be a bitch.
Women like to have sex with attractive virile men, but they don't settle down with them. They want someone who will provide for them, who will protect them, that sort of thing. That's a man's primary role.
I feel like I've missed something here. How is a woman not settling down when she has someone to provide and take care of her? A man. Are you referring to a sugar daddy or something? If so, then I can agree. But if you're referring to a role that a husband plays, which is to provide and protect, then the woman is very much settled down. Why are you being so vague? Scared that your biological functions are going to take over or something?
Even a man with a little dick with enough money will be able to attract a woman.
So you think it's all about the money now? You must have really gotten screwed over financially by an ex or something to be spouting this shit. With Angry MGTOW, I heard he was dumped by an anti-feminist, so that's why he spews the crap about how robots will take over the female population. Just an observation.
Meanwhile, the main thing that a man is attracted to in a woman is sexual. Thus, a sex toy threatens the woman's primary role, whereas a sex toy for a woman does not threaten a man's primary or even secondary roles.
Men aren't just attracted to women for sex. Sex is part of it, but not all of it. And no, women aren't really threatened by not getting sex from whiny man children. That is the feminists doing that with all their fat phobia shit. Also, have you looked at the sex toys for women lately? There are toys that bang the woman. It's practically a vibrating dildo attached to a machine where the woman rocks back and forth. It's time to come out of your man cave, TMF, and face reality. Feminists are striving for the same goals as MGTOW are, being independent of the opposite sex, sexually, physically, and financially. There is no difference between the two outside of one is supposedly tired of being stomped on, while the other wants a turn at being in charge. Both groups are mentally challenged, in my opinion.
This is why when a man finds his girlfriend's dildo, he's not offended by it. He doesn't care. In fact, he might, hey, I can put this in your butt while I fuck you from behind. He doesn't really give a shit. Men aren't threatened by female sex toys, but women are threatened by male sex toys, because that's all they have to offer.
How long has it been since you bought a sex toy for a girl, TMF? Do you even know what's on the market for women right now? Have you heard about the woman who married her robotic boyfriend and how it's becoming a trend for women as well? You just don't get it. Both men and women are swapping the real thing for robots. There's a market for both, disturbingly enough. As for sex being the only thing that women have to offer, men are treated the same way. Or did you forget? You act like men are infallible or not replaceable to many women. That's what erotica and sex toys are for. Also, there was such a thing called the sexual emancipation. Again, though, it doesn't sound like you have any idea what the hell you are talking about.
Just to use a hypothetical situation, if a man had no penis, if it was bit off by a crocodile or something, he had absolutely no penis, he could still attract a woman. If he's a good provider or protector, whatever, he could still attract a woman.
It's official. You're delusional as hell. The men not being able to have sex would cause many intimate problems in the marriage that would likely lead to divorce or being cheated on. Also, it'd make things worse seeing how he couldn't get her pregnant, which is a must for a lot of women wanting to settle down. Seriously, when is the last time that you were in a real relationship with a real woman?
If a woman had no vagina, what could she realistically offer a man? That's really all she has.
Holy shit. Okay, just a couple of things. Number one, anal sex must have flown under your radar. Number two, if the woman does not have a real vagina, then it's a man that you're trying to have sex with. Different strokes for different folks. 3. How much more can you project onto us for a messed up relationship that you had with a woman? It's the same with you, MGTOW. One bad relationship and you guys turn into hole-dwelling man-children that complain how you don't get any and run to the damn robot. What's going to happen with these new sex bots when they tell you to screw off or that they don't want to have sex with you? I just can't wait for that shit fest to start circulating. Siri rejected me. Wah! You think these things will get smart enough to jack with your credit score? Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
That is what men are attracted to in women. This is why they're threatened by sex toys, sex robots, etc. Now, the second but related issue is in regards to the cost and what it would take to replace all the roles of a particular sex.
You keep telling yourself that, I follow a channel that thinks robots will one day take over. You guys think with all the sex robot shit that both sides are pushing or having trend, you think we'll see any of that? Seriously, no robot is going to place any of the roles that men and women have. We already have enough problems as it is with the parent being absent in the home. A damn computer is not going to solve that. Have you looked out a window lately? Do you seriously know what you're actually advocating for?
If you consider a man's role as a provider and a protector, just those two, we're going to take sex completely out of it. We're going to assume that a woman can completely replace a man's sexual function with a dildo. But going beyond that, what about provider and protector?
What about father, teacher, or guardian of their children, and way to sell your gender short? Oh, we're only good for the money and beating other people up. Is that really the way you're advertising yourself right now? It really sounds like it.
Well, in order to have a protector, you would have to have some kind of Terminator Ed 209 robot. This is theoretically possible, but think about what it would take.
What the actual hell? Are you that far gone or that far deep in your man cave hole that you have forgotten what your gender in an actual marriage or healthy relationship does? You apparently need to learn how the sexes interact with each other again. Holy crap.
To have a military-grade robot, in order to fight crime, in order to make the streets safe for women, without men, you would have to have a massive nationwide surveillance state, patrolled by innumerable robots. Basically martial law with robots.
I'm completely lost here. I don't even know what to say to this. MGTOW are just as delusional as the feminists are, but on a whole other level. Why do these two groups think getting rid of the opposite sex will help society? Isn't it evident enough that not having the opposite gender around, working together with them, does more harm than good? I just can't wrap my head around this.
And this is simply to replace one function of a man. The other function, that of provider, is even harder to replace with robotics. This is because robotics don't get paid.
Newsflash, TMF. A lot of people and companies are looking to replace employees, if they can, with robots. You did read about the robot that does drive-thru, or about the self-order machines beginning to appear in the McDonald's fast food locations. MGTOW, much to your dismay, are not untouchable when it comes to this. Men are getting replaced in the workforce by machine if companies are able to. Again, you need to get back in touch with reality.
Nobody pays a robot. You buy a robot, you set it up, you have it do its thing, and you enjoy the increased productivity. So you wouldn't be able to have robots getting paid. What you'd have to do is you'd have to have the government taxing the companies on their increased productivity, and then giving that money to women in the form of welfare.
You do get the concept of why companies get robots put in besides the increased productivity? More money stays in their pockets. Have you seen the way our government works with the bigwig companies of America? You really think these greedy corporations are being or will get outsmarted by the government just so women can get more money through benefits? Have I got that right? You sound like a very crazy conspiracy theorist. FYI, there's a push to get Planned Parenthood defunded by other women. Imagine that. Also, there has been many cuts throughout the years to women's benefits, especially medical. You know that, though, if you actually got your head out of the sand for 5 minutes. Just saying.
A completely automated workforce and a massive welfare state in order to redistribute money from the companies to women. And as I've discussed in previous videos, simply giving single mothers money does not create a good family. Money is not a magical panacea for raising good children.
I agree. There are many single women on welfare and that use their kids as a means to get money. They've been trying to make single mothers a normal class, to which I hope to God it's unsuccessful, as that would encourage more to move off of this system. Also, having a single parent can make for a complicated family, especially if single parent is divorced or had a kid outside of marriage. The kid would become a token for custody rights.
Children need a father because they need an example to help them become adults. Women cannot mentor children into adulthood because they're not adults themselves. A man, an adult, needs to mentor children into adulthood.
TMF, I swear, do you know anything about children? Like at all? Both mothers and fathers teach their children how to be adults. Mothers teach their daughters how to be women and show their sons what a real woman looks like. Fathers teach their sons how to be real men and show their daughters what a real man looks like. A father cannot teach his children the lessons a mother can teach, and a mother cannot teach lessons that a father can teach. It's becoming harder and harder to take you seriously. I'm going to skip ahead as TMF continues to drone on about how hard it'd be to replace man in all his roles as far as what he does and such. Also that it would be really expensive to do so, and that somehow it'd be just a dildo. You got me.
And what would it cost to replace a woman? Almost nothing. These sex robots coming off the line cost about $10,000, and this is bleeding edge technology. It's going to get cheaper in time. These digital assistants only cost a few $100s. I think even Gatebox is only like $1,000. It's nothing.
Yep, you've done lost the plot. You don't seem to have a grasp on anything relationship-wise, much more anything about women, except for the one or maybe the two that stabbed you in the back. Good grief, this is just sad. Motherhood must have meant nothing to you growing up. Did your mother abuse you or something? Walk out of the picture? Where is all this bullshit, all this nonsense, really coming from?
Compared to the millions of dollars it would cost to replace a man, replacing a woman's role is almost effortless. And this is because they bring nothing to the table other than sex.
Wow, yeah, you're not getting the picture at all, my man. What the actual hell happened to you? What did a woman or your mother do to you that caused you to go full misogynistic? You're so far gone in your hate that you've lost any reasoning or logic that you might have once had. Replacing a woman's role is flawless? You sound like you have some deep-seated abandonment issues, dude, considering your mom. Damn.
And just like replacing a man's function is fairly easy with a dildo, replacing a female's function is almost just as easy. This is why you see feminists starting campaigns to ban sex robots, writing articles about how Alexa and Siri are sexually harassed.
Replacing a woman's function is almost just as easy, TMF. Freudian slip there, I see. Even you know, despite all this shit you've been saying, women can't be replaced just like men can't be replaced either, no matter how technologically advanced the dildo or sex robot might be. I haven't seen anything recent about the banning of sex robots, and the Siri thing was beyond stupid. I'm not even going to try to explain the logic behind that, as I can't even wrap my brain around it to begin with.
But you don't see men having campaigns to ban dildos, or vibrators, or anything like that because men aren't threatened by robotics. Men know they are more valuable than a robot because they're not simply sex objects.
Okay, so yeah, that's the rest of the video. Honestly, this is a full-blown misogynist. The very fact that all women to him are sex objects which are replaceable in his world, I just can't fathom the reality guys like him live in. I can't even laugh at this because with this attitude, it does legitimately open the door to other deeper issues and problems. And yes, I am indicating domestic violence and such. If you go through the comments of his videos, especially this one and the previous one on the virtual assistant, you'll find some really messed up remarks. As far as men not being threatened by women's sex toys, again, when was the last time you bought one for an actual woman? You know how many complaints I've heard or read about women not wanting to have sex with their men because they're more satisfied masturbating with said toy? It's messed up, but it still happens. I know real men, actual men that have been dragged through the dirt, stabbed in the back by their women, and pick themselves up to find a real good woman. They don't just puss out. Shit does happen. People do make poor decisions when it comes to the opposite sex. They either settle for less or try to use that person. I've seen men mooch off of disabled women and their disability checks too. Men are not perfect or untouchable, and neither are women. Women are not slaves or sex objects, and men are not walking wallets or rapist? Well, that's going to be it for me. Forgive me if this wasn't a fun video as everyone might have expected, but to Cog Grinder's audience, I hope I opened your eyes to the other side of the coin when it comes to these matters. Feminists are not the only detriment on society. Their much quieter yet misogynistic counterpart, MGTOW, is also a detriment, with wanting to revert things to where women weren't treated like people. Now with MGTOW in general, I've heard that it's been taken over by zealots and extremists such as Angry MGTOW and Turd Flinging Monkey. I've heard that back then it was legitimately set up to help men recover from broken relationships and to help them rediscover themselves again as men, but this is no longer the case, it seems. Can they really do anything? In my opinion, not really. Troll them a bit or stand up for them and they screw back to their hole of a man cave. You want men who are actually fighting for men leadership and not to be dismantled, or that know the value of both parents in the home, mother and father? Look into MRA, or men's rights activists. They actually fight for the strength of men and their roles as fathers, leaders, protectors. They know what's up and know what would happen if one of the genders disappear. The same goes for anti-feminists. Either way, that's enough for me. If you enjoyed my video, you can find the links to where I reside in the description below. Take care, and thanks Cog for letting me stop by.